I was having all kinds of technical difficulties. I haven't had. That is so crazy. I've only had this issue with my streaming software when I try to stream on Rumble as well as everything else. This is the first time I've not used Rumble and had any issues, other than when I was trying to stream God of War. But anyway, we'll back up. We'll let this guy finish what he was saying, and then I'll say what I was going to say, and then we'll continue on from there.
Was so censorious when it was under the kind of left-wing ownership. Mm-hmm. And there's so many news stories or just ordinary things that you might see around the world that we see on Twitter, we scroll by, and we take for granted that we're looking at this stuff. You know, whether it's videos of the lefties celebrating Kirk's death, or whether it's a video of, you know, a migrant boat coming into the UK, or whatever it is. And you're like, this is free speech in action. Mm-hmm. And we're actually, the global discourse has been massively influenced by Elon paying a huge amount of money, probably like completely overpriced. But actually,
it really
was worth it, you know, $40 billion or whatever, just kind of.
And I have to say, love or hate Elon Musk, he has done more than just about anyone else when it comes to free speech. He's become international. He's been helping with the British free speech campaigns. As I've done previous stories before, like the little girl with the hatchet and the knife trying to fend off predators who are in the country illegally. But she was arrested for that, for brandishing weapons to fend off predators. That's how backwards England's become. And it's not just big cities. This is in a small town. I can't remember the name of the town, but I looked it up at the time, and it was a very small town. It was smaller than the town I grew up in, and I grew up in a very small town. Like less than 80,000 people in my hometown, which sounds like a lot, but not when it's not when it's the biggest town within, like, I think 2 hours at least. But England and Europe, when it comes to this kind of thing, and even Australia's coming around a little bit, I think. They still have a stranglehold, but it seems like, and you'll hear like hard lefties, and when I say lefties, I'm liberal. I still consider myself at least socially liberal, but fiscally conservative is the way I've heard myself described by friends of mine who are more political than I am. I piss everyone off. It's fun. It's part of who I am. But no, Twitter used to be very much, and the people who have moved to Blue Sky and made it worse than Twitter ever was when it comes to how that was, they're starting to, you know how on movies where when the monsters run out of things to eat, they'll start fighting each other and killing each other? That's Blue Sky. Blue Sky is that scene from Chronicles of Riddick when they're all running to the ship and all the monsters are starting to kill each other because they have no food, nothing left to play with. That's what Blue Sky is. A lot of them have left Twitter permanently, and I gotta admit, it's a lot less fun without them there. But they complain that it's become a very conservative platform, which is anything but the truth. Right now, it's as close to 50-50 as it's ever been. Talking about X for the guy that just jumped in, formerly Twitter. But it's as 50-50 as it's ever been. That's just a fact. And the idea that it's a conservative platform now is nonsense. Yeah, Franklin, dude, definitely hit me up on X. And all my things are on there. But yeah, dude, friend me on X, and we can talk games. We'll get it. I'll copy that. But yeah, Twitter and the internet as a whole since Trump became president, and love him or hate him, and since Elon Musk bought Twitter, has become a lot more 50-50, the way it should be. And the only difference that I've seen as someone who's been on both sides of the argument or loves people on both sides of the argument, who's that? Oh, Prometheus, thank you so much for the follow, man. Or woman. I very much appreciate it. But yeah, it's just you'll notice that liberals, or the left rather, because liberals don't do this. The hard left will pick at any little thing and say, "Oh, this is a dog whistle. That's a dog whistle. When he said this, he actually meant this and was dog whistling about this and this." That's not the case. Most of the time. Sometimes it is, but most of the people who want to say things, giving them freedom of speech allows them to say the things. That way we know that they're the person that they are. I would much rather have people saying whatever they want to say, within reason, of course, no threats of violence, no calls to action on violence, and no slander, especially when you're a news organization or one of the largest broadcasting shows on network television. But that's it. That's pretty much the limit. Because when it comes to finances, taking a man's source of income, taking a man's meal, is akin to killing him. Dave Chappelle said that. I can't remember who he quoted when he said it, but it's something to live by. If you make a man or a woman, when I say man, I mean a human, when you take their source of income, you've taken basically his whole means, everything he has. And a lot of people can bounce back, and a lot of people find strength in adversity. But how strong do you really want people to be? Honestly. Anyway, sorry about my little soapbox. I'll continue from
Save
here.
free speech in a way, and having one platform that's able to do that, I think, has forced the other platforms, maybe even YouTube as well, to be a bit more open and a bit more free speech, because they're all kind of competing with each other.
I don't think Elon bought X at a loss, and I don't think he did it for free speech. I think he did it because he wanted a data set to train an AI, which is now worth a substantial amount of money.
Yeah.
That is.
I think the free speech angle was I think Elon certainly agrees and cares about a lot of these issues. But I think he was obviously saying the Twitter fire hose is the one of the best data training models for AI. I disagree. It is one of the best, but it's got its problems.
Because I was going to ask earlier, you were looking on ChatGPT about the left-wing political violence.
They use Reddit.
I wonder what Grok would have said. Like that, maybe there would have been a difference. I don't know.
Let's find out.
Yeah, that could be.
ChatGPT, you're literally just arguing with a Redditor. It's the worst experience ever. It's like they should be paying me for this.
If you ask,
You're arguing with a Redditor with zero convictions. As soon as you push back, it's like,
ask
fold,
you ask
fold.
ChatGPT how many transgender mass murderers there have been, or murderers in general, it says none. I asked Grok, and it immediately. I hate all AI. I hate it all. You know why? They don't actually answer their questions. Let's try this. Okay, Grok, you effing moron. When I ask how many, and then you go on some long autistic tirade, how does that answer my question, which sought a number? That's what I hate about all of these AIs.
It's such slop,
You're like,
isn't it?
what time is it? And it just lists this big, like the Roman calendar was founded. I'm like, oh, what?
Yeah.
Lord.
It's like when you are looking for a recipe.
Oh, and now it's,
like three
I'm sorry.
paragraphs.
Now it's saying, which response would you prefer? I don't know. Just answer the stupid question.
They're giving you homework.
Okay, we're going to move on to the
Governor
next
of
thing. That's all pretty
Louisiana
much all
is
I have to say about
requesting
it.
1,000 National Guard troops to fight violent crime across the state. And I say, let's go. The funny thing is, if you went back 10 years and said, Tim, 10 years from now, you'll be cheering on federal law enforcement and National Guard deploying across the country to stop crime, I'd be like, what? Because even a few years ago, we were very resistant to the idea of national policing, and still are.
Yeah, no.
And then something happened.
100%.
And you know, in all
Look, I'm very much against what's happening right now, but I'm also against the fact that people aren't putting people in jail. The person that killed, I can't remember the Ukrainian girl's name, mostly because I can't pronounce it, and I have trouble remembering things that I can't pronounce until I say them enough times. But the person who stabbed her in the neck on a train, just for being unfortunate enough to sit in front of him on a train, and he said, "I got that white girl." He had been arrested 20 plus times, been to jail once, released, and the judge was one to push for mental health, but she wasn't one to push force to have said mental health. It had to be his choice, even though his choices were clearly unfavorable. These large blue cities, whether they're in a red state or not, a lot of them, and I'm all for smaller offenses maybe being brushed aside, especially if people are young and trying to survive or whatever. There's an argument to be made there. I still disagree with a lot of it. But the fact that they're letting violent crimes, assaults, murders, go relatively unpunished, letting people out on the streets before their sentences are even close to over, just because. It's not right. This isn't how you fix the problem. This is causing more problems for political gain. And while I disagree with deploying National Guard troops in a civilian populace, whether it be foreign or domestic, this isn't something that we can allow to happen. Governors are sacrificing their own people, maybe not their lives, but their people are living in fear, a lot of them, or they just become accustomed to it, which is a whole other case in general. This is like Judge Dredd type cities. This is like RoboCop type. What was that, Chicago and Detroit, or were they both Detroit? A lot of Democrat voters, at least, they mean well. They come from good places, and I understand the resistance to anything Republicans have to say. I will never consider myself a Republican either. Trump's not a Republican. Although his cabinet is mixed, it's got people like Tulsi Gabbard, who I very much love. She's said some things, she's done some things I haven't agreed with. But she was outcast for the sin of going kamikaze on Kamala Harris during the DNC in 2020, or was it 2019? Or it was probably 2020. But she went kamikaze on her. Took her out before she even got to her own state. And it was obvious from the beginning. They were grooming Kamala Harris to run for president in 2020. Imagine what that would have been like. But let's continue with this.
honesty, it wasn't just the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Crime has been expanding over the past several years.
No,
as
I don't
Democrats
care that Kamala Harris is a woman
this
or
happen.
that she's not white.
You have the murder of Irina
I don't care.
Zaritska.
Good governance is good governance, and bad governance is bad governance. There's gray areas in between, obviously. I do not care about your gender, gender identity, sexual orientation, or race. I care about what you believe in, what you push, and what your history is. Kamala Harris has never done anything good anywhere. She's kept people past their sentences, which is funny because now California doesn't even keep people to their sentence, but she kept people past their sentence to get free, involuntary slave labor out of them. Know who you're pushing beyond character traits that people cannot help.
You have many more young women being brutally murdered from illegal immigrants and other crime. And that is not to say that crime is necessarily up in every facet. There are a variety of reasons we see certain crimes go down. I often bring up cell phones being a good point. With cell phones, you're more likely to get emergency services to you more quickly, meaning homicides appear to go down. Only because you survived doesn't mean that getting stabbed by a violent criminal has stopped or gone down either. But what we've seen across the country is these lax laws on shoplifting. We have seen this result in major fights, conflicts, and an escalation of violence in these key areas. And we have seen these far left DAs releasing criminals onto our streets. We have seen far leftists claim that their democracy is under threat from our republic. It's kind of crazy that we've got this bifurcation in American society, but I think you all understand it, especially if you've been watching my show. But where are we right now? With the killing of Irina Zarutska, which shocked the nation, and then shortly after that, the assassination of Charlie Kirk, it is becoming more apparent that to people in this country, there is an acute wave of violence that we are seeing. Again, they can cite every stat they want, but what we are seeing is very real, and we experience it. People who, here's a story that you guys may have missed that's going viral again. Female Uber driver begging for her life. A black man in the back seat put a bullet in her head. Why? These things have to stop. Let me tell you like this. Being from Chicago, not from Louisiana, now Memphis is going to get federal law enforcement as well. Being from Chicago, seeing these gangs, seeing how they operate, I've been shot at, I've been mugged. Fortunately, I was poor, so they didn't get anything from me when they tried to mug me. And if you had federal law enforcement or National Guard, we'd have been happy. We'd have been happy. What we don't want is like FPS, federal police taking everything over in a It's only on hold because he's president. They went after his lawyers. We know where this is going. And so talking with some of these more libertarian types, I was talking to Luke Rudkowski on IRL last night. Here we are sitting here saying, extenuating circumstances, I suppose. We recognize that when a great threat emerges, you need commensurate force. Now we're talking about the National Guard going in and shutting these things
down. And for me, I'll tell you this. It's not just about the violent far left
rooms down. And for me, I'll tell you this. It's not just about the violent far left riots, which have been expanding and have not stopped for the past, 20 years?
Look, real quick. When it comes to stuff like this, San Francisco 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy stunned the NFL world. Ahead of a major primetime game, he flat out refused to wear a rainbow-themed captain's patch designed to show solidarity with the LGBT community. Instead, Purdy delivered a blunt statement blasting what he called the woke agenda and insisted... Oh, I didn't read that part before I put this on there. And insisted that he would never endorse it. A move that instantly divided fans across the Bay Area did it, though, and the nation. Leave your opinions in the comments. Stop making enemies. Stop trying to get people who don't share your political beliefs, or even if they do. People watch football to watch football. I'm not a football fan myself, but I know if I was, and someone threw a bunch of politics or something to remember how shitty the real world is into something that I watch to escape from it or just get a little bit of enjoyment without all the noise from everything else. Aren't commercials bad enough? Don't we complain about commercials? Now you literally want patches for political points on people's jerseys. People are allowed to say no to whatever they want. And the fact that they made this news is kind of ridiculous. People are allowed to disagree with you. Forcing something on someone, and I feel the same way about if it was one of the
to exist. Today's news, you'd hear it a lot if it happened, trust me. That someone was attacked for being gay. Specifically for being gay. Not gay person was attacked. Person was attacked for being gay or trans. you don't hear it, because if it happened at all, you would hear about it. It would be on mainstream news. MSNBC and CNN would be talking about it, and Fox News would be running defense. Just like it does with the inverse. Anyway, enough of that.
Remember in at the RNC, I think it was like 2008, those dudes were arrested with Molotov cocktails? And the left is all angry and all butthurt about it. Well, don't bring Molotov cocktails.
Oh, this just in. Bomb defusal squad had to be called on a turning point. Bomb defusal squad had to be called on a Turning Point event in Utah. Again, Utah, where Charlie Kirk, the founder of Turning Point, was assassinated. They called out the bomb. They called out the bomb disposal squad. It was disposed of. That's all the story I know so far. I should have put that in today's thing, but I forgot about it until just now. To be honest, I think I read about it right after the show yesterday.
I've seen some cops do questionable things too. Don't get me wrong. But where we're at right now is, especially over the past 10 years, these cells, these violent Antifa cells, have been expanding. They have legal frameworks. They exploit our laws. Enough. I think of Abraham Lincoln. I've said it of Donald Trump. At a certain point, we say, okay, we need something to put a stop to this violent crime. I can't speak for Louisiana. Haven't been all that much in the news necessarily outside of their crime. But let's take a look at the story. Before we do, my friends, you got to go to castbrew.com. Why? Because Cast Brew coffee is the best coffee. Everyone agrees, at least that's what I've been told. Everyone's favorite.
Like, look at this.
One.
Like, look at this.
One. Do not touch me. Her. Do not touch.
Suspect attempting to escape. I'm chasing her down.
All right, so I have this assault suspect. I have the police guy following, so we're gonna see if anything happens.
So this is Portland. Apparently the girl talking was assaulted by these two. He doesn't shout at them.
Do not touch me! Yes! Jan's sport backpack.
Do not touch me.
That one.
Do not touch me.
Her.
Do not touch me. No, I'm not. I am not.
I just said that you are.
I'm underage. No, do not touch her. Do not touch her. Do not touch me. I am underage.
He should be calling for backup and arresting both of them. Continue to pursue. Hello, officer. Police officer is with the person following them right now.
Gotta keep our eyes on them.
Oh, yep, they're on their way to the hive to lose themselves in the crowd. Oh, look at that. All the masked men are pulling out their,
Any police still over there? Hey, can you see if the police are still over there?
blocking devices, hiding the people. They're going to change clothes. I say, take as many of them as you can. This is obstruction. Clear obstruction. Portland doesn't care. There they go. Whole lot of nothing happening. And this, look at this whole little brigade back here. Look at all the weaponry, sticks, shields. simply stunning. But let's continue.
Appalachian night acidity coffee. We get to below. Landry cited ongoing public safety concerns regarding high crime rates throughout the state, adding that local law enforcement is overwhelmed by the number of homicides, carjackings, and gang violence that significantly exceed the national average.
And yes, this isn't a red state, but a blue city. And the red states are allowing police into their blue cities to do this, or wherever the crime is, but it's usually blue cities.
He also says manpower shortages have been compounded by hurricanes and other natural disasters, causing the already thin police force to be stretched to its breaking point. Louisiana faces a convergence of elevated violent crime rates in Shreveport, Baton Rouge, and New Orleans, coupled with critical personnel shortages within local law enforcement. The additional Guard support is expected to supplement law enforcement presence in high crime areas, provide logistical and communication support, and secure critical infrastructure. Under Title 32 authority, they would patrol high crime neighborhoods, bolster police presence in Baton Rouge, New Orleans, and Shreveport, while securing critical infrastructure. Now, I got to say something on all this. I think we're going to war. I think this is not just about local crime. I think the deployment of federal law enforcement and National Guard is because there's a very real concern of internal conflict that we understand. We need to secure certain regions of this country in the event we go to war with Russia or enter some greater war with foreign adversaries. Russia has been violating the airspace of several NATO nations already, and there's already discussion that Poland or NATO may shoot down Russian jets. This war has been escalating. We feared this. But I think, I take a look at what we're seeing with National Guard deployment into these various areas, and I don't know that you need it to such a degree for these crimes. Could deal with these on their own for the most part. I could be wrong about that. I guess what I'm saying is I don't know that you need to go to the degree that Trump and these governors are going. I mean, there are many that are opposed. I should say the attacks on the immigration facilities.
Buildings, I can see it. Especially if there's any damage caused to person or property. That's the only reason they can justify the federal troops. On anything else, I'm a little less okay.
Those things. But in Chicago, for just crime, Trump could do a lot with just federal law enforcement to put a stop to this crime. Talking about deploying National Guard is interesting. And to be fair, he's only doing about 100. What I'll say is this. I certainly think crime plays a role.
But at the same time, they're literally just being sent as a presence. It's amazing what having a few troops, especially ones that meet Pete Hegseth's standards, we'll get into that in a second, but it's amazing what just 100 people in such a large town, the presence of them, will do to avert crime.
But I wonder, when we're looking at this foreign policy stuff, you got Pete Hegseth and Trump coming out being like, fat generals, gotta go. PT time, baby. The woke military is over. Trump has tried to negotiate with Putin. It's not working. With the political bifurcation in this country, let me just pause and say, you have to recognize this if you are in the federal government. There are concerns about what happens if we actually go into a hot war, say, with Venezuela. We're talking about drone striking Venezuela and what that risk means with narco gangs, MS-13, cartels, etc., operating in our cities. Then you've got potential war with Europe. In the event we go into a hot war and Trump is trying to secure certain cities or towns or whatever, states, and they're not cooperative, we are going to be at risk. So you look at the federal government sort of dispatching all of these law enforcement. They're creating a unified blanket over this country. Small. But in the event of an actual attack from, say, narco gangs coordinated from Venezuela or otherwise, Iran, Russia, China, there will be a network, but from D.C. with all the various National Guard and federal law enforcement that will be able to provide logistics and intel gathering in these moments. In the event of a serious emergency, take command and protect these locations. I don't know for sure, but I don't want to look at this and ignore the external threats that we face. It's pretty obvious we've got problems with these far left, but I'm wondering why Louisiana is now saying they want 1,000 National Guard. To be fair, personnel shortages. We also have this. Memphis braces for an influx of federal force. Why not? Drained by years of crime and conservative criticism, Memphis is set to receive a wave of federal agents that residents are divided over. Miriam Cordero, a longtime Memphis resident who owns a downtown flower shop, sounded torn last week about the arrival of federal forces in the city in coming days. If they come to help with crime, I think we can be okay.
I think this is the one, and we'll move on to Hegseth and his little speeches on the military. Some of them are good, some of them are, come on, dude. But
the right people. Today,
let's check this one out. I think it is.
Today is about people, and it's about culture. The topic today is about the nature of ourselves. Because no plan, no program, no reform, no formation will ultimately succeed unless we have the right people and the right culture at the War Department. If I've learned one core lesson in my 8 months in this job, it's that personnel is policy.
And I agree with a lot of this as someone who was in himself. Individuality is important, 100%. But the military has to have standards. It has to be America first. You have to love the country, or at least want the country to thrive. And not just because you live here, but that's also a big reason. But there has to be physical standards. I'm not going to say that anyone should be shunned because of anything about them that can't be helped, whether it be who they are, who they were born as, or whatever. That's not the American way. To shun someone for being a woman or anything else. But you have to be able to meet the standards that I think this is the one where that he's about to present. Physical standards. Especially if you're in a potentially dangerous, and almost all military professions are potentially dangerous, especially if you deploy. Even if you're on base. People can sneak on, as we've seen even in this country. I can't remember, it was a Texas base. Sam Houston, maybe. Somewhere in South Texas. Like 10, 15 years ago, a sleeper cell was activated and shot up a bunch of people in an office on a post. Stuff like that can happen. It's rare, but it can happen. You need to be able to defend yourself, carry your battle buddies to safety, or at the very least drag them to safety. If you can't move let's be honest, 170-pound person to safety, whether you're male or female or anything else, you do not belong in the military. You have to be above a certain height. I think it's like 4'10" or 5 foot is the shortest you can be to be in the military, but don't quote me on that. It's been a while.
Personnel is policy. The best way to take care of troops is to give them good leaders committed to the warfighting culture of the department. Not perfect leaders, good leaders. Competent, qualified, professional, agile, aggressive, innovative, risk-taking, apolitical, faithful to their oath and to the Constitution. Eugene Sledge, in his World War II memoir, wrote, quote, "War is brutish, inglorious, and a terrible waste. Combat leaves an indelible mark on those who are forced to endure it. The only redeeming factors are my comrades' incredible bravery and their devotion to each other." In combat, there are thousands of variables, as I learned in Iraq and Afghanistan, and as so many of you did in so many more places. Leaders can only control about 3 of them. You control how well you're trained, mostly how well you're equipped, and the last variable is how well you lead. After that, you're on your own. Our warfighters are entitled to be led by the best and most capable leaders. That is who we need you all to be. Even then, in combat, even if you do everything right, you may still lose people because the enemy always gets a vote. We have a sacred duty to ensure that our warriors are led by the most capable and qualified combat leaders. This is one thing you and I can control. And we owe it to the force to deliver it. speech.
Nothing untrue said there.
With females who can't meet the same combat arms physical standards as men.
All right, on this one, I don't agree with a lot of the wording he uses.
The first, but not the best. Standards must be uniform, gender neutral, and high. If not, killed. When it comes to combat arms units, and there are many different stripes across.
Again, he
our
didn't
joint
phrase that
force,
the best, but you know what he means.
The era of politically correct, overly sensitive, don't hurt anyone's feelings leadership ends right now. At every level, either you can meet the standard, either you can do the job, either you are disciplined, fit, and trained, or you are out. And that's why today, at my direction, and this is the first of 10 Department of War directives that are arriving at your commands as we speak and in your inbox. Today, at my direction, each service will ensure that every requirement
Brienne of Tarth type situation. There won't be many, but it should be allowed.
to compete. It's common sense and core to who we are and what we do. It should be in our DNA. Today, at my direction, we are also adding a combat field test for combat arms units that must be executable in any environment at any time and with combat equipment. These tests, they'll look familiar. They'll resemble the Army Expert Physical Fitness Assessment or the Marine Corps Combat Fitness Test. I'm also directing that warfighters in combat jobs execute their scored above 70%. It all starts with physical fitness and appearance. If the at combat formations, or really any formation, and see fat troops. Likewise, it's completely unacceptable to see fat generals and admirals in the halls of the Pentagon and leading commands around the country and the world. It's a bad look. It is bad, and it's not who we are. So whether you're an airborne ranger or a chairborne ranger, a brand new private or a 4-star general, you need to meet the height and weight standards and pass your PT test. And as the chairman said, yes, there is no PT test. But today, at my direction, every member of the Joint Force at every rank is required to take a PT test twice a year, as
Good.
well as meet height and weight requirements twice a year.
Good.
Every year.
For my friends who are still in, when was this canceled? Because that is ridiculous.
Of service. Also today, at my direction, every warrior across our joint force is required to do PT every duty day.
Yes.
It should be common sense. I mean, most units do that already. But we're codifying it. And we're not talking like hot yoga and stretching. Real hard PT, either as a unit or as an individual. At every level, from the Joint Chiefs to everyone in this room to the youngest private, leaders set the standard. And so many of you do this already. Active, Guard, and Reserve.
And this is 100% true. And a lot of people are freaking out. I have a video of someone who isn't freaking out due to this. It came up this week, and I've been trying to fit it in here. But here she goes. We'll let you listen, and then I'll give my thoughts.
When they're trying to whittle down every single fat person, they're so excited that they found a drug that makes it so we don't exist anymore.
Okay, I couldn't make it. It's not a drug, so you won't exist. You will still exist. Because there's less of you does not mean you don't exist. People who think this way, I'm not gonna lie, it's mostly white people. You don't see anyone else having ridiculous complaints like this. But you're still gonna exist. They want you to be healthy, and they're not forcing it on you. No one's forcing anything on you. You do you. But if you remain unhealthy like this, and I'm assuming that she eats fried mayonnaise balls, you're going to genocide yourself. Does that make sense? No, it doesn't. But neither does what she's saying. People want you to be healthy because they care about you, because they want you to be around for longer. And that's it. They want you to be able to pry yourself out of the chair at your house so you can go do activities with them, because for some reason people like to be around you. And if no one's saying any of this to you, it means it's already too late and you've already ostracized everyone in your life.
Anymore. And again, not to devalue any of these things. I consider them all very important.
Do you?
If tomorrow they released a drug
Wait for it.
that said, okay, we cured black.
Stop comparing yourselves to black people. You've never been slaves, mostly because
We're nuts. Models everywhere were starving themselves, but they were doing it to each other and themselves. Most men don't want someone rail thin. They don't want this either because, I mean, look at those eyes. This woman has not seen sanity in some time. But you are not oppressed. You know nothing of the struggle of black people. You only know the struggle of standing up.
Ozempic and these weight loss drugs are trying to exterminate fat people. They
No, they're
wanna
not.
get rid of us.
No, they're not. You will still live. You will still... Look, using exterminate in this fashion is very disrespectful to those who have actually been genocided, who have actually been oppressed, who have actually known hardship. They're not trying to exterminate you. They're trying to make you healthy. I know she can't hear me, but I wish she could. But I'd keep her on mute.
Fat phobia is racism.
No, it's not. It's not.
Racism is classism. Classism is racism.
No, it's not.
When they're trying to whittle down.
None of those things are the same thing. But what are we even talking about here? I see I've completely ostracized my whole audience. That being said, look, I threw that in at the end because it's ridiculous. I thought it was hilarious. Apparently my audience thought otherwise. But look, be nice to people. Fat people, you're going to have a few fat jokes. I've told a few here. But the cool ones are 100% okay with it. And that's just facts. Learn to love yourself for who you are. Learn to laugh at yourself, as I do. I have a very massive head. I can't wear hats. It's ridiculous. When I wear them, have you ever stretched a rubber band out to the point where it's about to pop? That's what hats look like when I put them on. Regular fits all, whatever, hats look like yarmulkes with little bills when I put them on. It's terrible, but I learned to put them on. It's terrible, but I learned to love myself and I learned to make fun of myself because I have self-respect and I don't care what people think about me. I really don't. I don't want people to think lies about me. And if someone's lying on me, depending on who it is, especially if people who I thought were good people believe said lies. But when it comes to stuff like this, stop embarrassing yourself. Love yourself. And if you don't love yourself, that's on you. I'm sorry that you've been made fun of at some point. I'm sure people have called you crazy. Also, look at those eyes. There's nothing going on there. She's got the dead eyes. They only light up whenever she sees something delicious and sugared. But you're not oppressed. Nobody wants you dead. If someone wants you thinner, especially if they're related to you, they want you to stay around for longer. Your parents want you to either not end up like them, or they want to make sure they don't outlive you. And it's as simple as that. There's nothing wrong with living the way you want to live. It's okay to be fat.
It's okay to be a little chubby, especially. And drugs like Ozempic are abused by people who are already skinny, and people actually need these for diabetes, but I'm afraid it's going to go the same way as Viagra went as far as heart medication, to where it's just going to be boner pills. It's just going to lead to people having sex. More people enjoying sex. And that's it. It's going to spike. It's already spiked in price. People who actually need it for health reasons can't afford it. That's the genocide you should be worrying about when it comes to Ozempic. It's not genocide again. It's not actual genocide. But people will suffer because of these inflated prices of Ozempic being marketed as a weight loss drug instead of a diabetes drug. There is no fat genocide. My God, I can't say it enough times. My patience is as stretched thin as, I mean, look at all the gaps in her eyebrows from her ever expanding. I'm gonna stop, but sorry, stuff like this just irritates me. I had a similar story. It's been like 15 years ago. One of my upper middle class white friends, again, was fighting for the next civil rights campaign at the time, tattoos in the workplace. Their argument was, doesn't matter if I have a spider tattooed to my face. I should be able to work at a daycare. Get stuffed, okay? Stuff like fat, sometimes there is a genetic component, but a lot of time it's self-control issues. A lot of the times. I won't even say half the times. But tattoos, 100% optional. You have to know the effects of your choices dependent on the world in which you live. If you don't like the world where you live...
Today is about people.
What the hell?
And it's about culture. The topic today is about the nature...
But anyway, that's that. I'm done for the day. I'm going to get ready for my actual day. Look, y'all, just try to be happy. Love yourself. Don't do this to yourself. The government shutdown starts today. For those of you who are in the military, I hope things are okay. I hope it gets reactivated very soon. I hope the Democrats will stop facilitating this shutdown just so they can make sure that illegal immigrants get free health care. On what they're doing these days. Stop fighting for 3% issues. Stop fighting for the 1% over everyone else, especially if those people aren't citizens. We need to make a pathway to citizenship an easier pathway for those who actually need it. But letting everyone in, all we're doing, an easier, preferably quicker way. But people also need to, what's it called? What's the word? Come on, Google. What's the word when someone comes to another country, you need to adhere to the lifestyle of that place? Assimilation. Not assimilation to the point of being a Borg or being a cog in the whole system, but there needs to be some kind of assimilation to where we have common, at least inherent commonalities as a country. We need to have things in common. It doesn't have to be everything. You can still be 100% your own person. But we have to believe in America. And God, old school anarchist, punk rock me really hates saying that out loud. But as you get older, you realize as a country you need things, especially when you are in the freest country in the world. No matter how bad it's gotten, we can talk about our politicians without going to jail. Looking at you, all of Europe. We can talk about our politicians without going to jail. They will not come and get us in the middle of the night. I don't care what Hassan Piker says. I don't care what the left says. It is not happening. Give me an example, and I will fight for said person. But a lot of times, someone threw out death threats on somebody and actions were taken. Because death threats aren't covered in free speech. You have to be careful what you say, especially if you have a huge platform behind you. But that being said, I'm going to end it. Thank you for stopping by to everyone who's popped in and out of here. This was kind of an impromptu show. I apologize. I'm going to start getting things at work are cooling off a bit. I'm finally getting a handle on my new duties, but I will start putting more effort into the show in the month for the rest of the year. My goal is to be monetized on at least 2 of the 3 platforms, preferably all 3. I'm working on that by the end of the year, and to have enough money to take care of a couple things and to share. I'm going to start putting a lot more effort into it for the rest of the year. I promise. I'm going to keep to 2 streams as far as gaming goes a week at the very least. We're going to start streaming our next D&D campaign, which is going to be on Fridays, starting after we end this one that we're on, I believe. And then I'm going to keep the regular weekday morning show. And then coming soon, I know I've been the basically like a weekend update daily show, comedic news show at least once a week.